Trump's energy stocks will help you retire early. I'm not a financial advisor, but these two oil stocks, well, one of them is a coal stock, seem to be doing well in revenue in the billions. Also, both had revenue that beat expectation in Q3. Basically, the surprise for 2025 was that solar stocks did so well. Under Trump, Republican president, it was expected that solar might get big, basically subsidies slashed. Solar did great, and oil is also doing well. That was more expected. Natural gas is doing well because that's going to be the transition from where we're at to nuclear. Ultimately, we can't just build a bunch of nuclear power plants. So there's two companies. The first one is BTU. It's a coal company, actually. And the second one is Baker Hughes. It's a ticker symbol BKR. BTU Energy is BTU, ticker symbol BTU. These two look great. Let's jump into a little bit about the oil sector, a little bit about natural gas right now, and a little bit about why these companies look so great on the chart, not just fundamentally. So we can talk fundamentally ad nauseum, but there's nothing better than seeing actual buys and sells.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
Here's BTU. It's Peabody. I don't know what I was calling it. BTU Energy. Peabody Energy. BTU is that's a English thing. And then they revenue beat estimates, and lower coal prices, yet they're still performing better than expected. So that's the whole revenue beating estimates part. And they have this 7-year commitment. So coal's not going away. This is the big deal. We need all the energy we can get for data centers and AI. Otherwise, the GDP is going to go back to zero and China's going to win and all that. Anyway, that's the narrative right now. In 2 years or whatever, 3 years, whenever the next election is, that might all reverse. And we'll be regulating data centers, and they'll just be abandoned and all that. And there'll be no coal, and we'll be just running off of all solar. I don't know. No one knows. I don't like to just talk about fantastical scenarios because, look, here's what's happening right now. So this is the earnings day bottom, hit off this moving average, high or low. And now you can risk, $1 and look for $10. So that's pretty exciting. In my opinion, BTU, Peabody Energy, is set up for a move to the upside right now. And if you don't think that's exciting to get $10, well, okay, so how about even $5? I think that's even exciting. 32 on a company that trades $30 million a day. You can put 300,000 to 500,000 in here with the click of a button and barely move the stock at all, and then get a 10% move. Make 50 grand in a week or a few days on this stock, and you have multiple positions in different stocks. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't seem interesting to you. I don't know what to say. There are bigger companies that I can talk about for you. Baker is one of them. This one does more like $150 million a day. So 1% of that, right? You don't really want to be more than 1% of the dollar volume traded in a day. You could be up to 10%, but that's super risky. But if you're super risky and you want to put $15 million in this, assuming you have that, maybe with margin or whatever, you could risk 2%, down to this breakout level, and look for a 10% move, maybe up to 55 or something like that. And you could make $1.5 million in a week or something like that. Not often, but I'm just saying there is opportunities for different risk profiles, account sizes, and strategies. This is an energy stock, okay? So XLE is turning up a little bit, so it makes sense that BKR is turning up as well. If you look at the SPY, it's turned up significantly. But notably, it chopped down ever since the beginning of November. So during that time, Baker went sideways. So that's definitely relative strength. Peabody Energy, not so much. That basically did go sideways, but it had earnings, which made it all messed up because it's a positive earnings reaction, even though it was a net loss on the earnings per share. Revenue beat expectations, as I mentioned, and then it rolled over. So now we're, thankfully, this is the weird thing about stock trading. Let's just call what we're doing trading. Like, we're not investing. If we were investing, we would be holding them for a year or something, right? That's what long-term capital gains is in the US, at least. I'm still going to call it investing because I don't want to use the word trading, but also because trading implies sometimes day trading, and we're definitely not looking at this chart. So whatever, we'll call it investing. We're looking for like a few day investing move, and for that reason, I think it's actually nice that it rolled over after these earnings because it brought it back to a level where if it was just hanging out up here, like there probably are some energy companies that are just hanging out. Actually, this one looks at a pretty good level, PARR. I was trying to find one that was at a weird level. Dyno's okay because it's down here. DK's okay. They're all pretty much in okay spots. A little bit of a weird fake move on ExxonMobil. Move up and then just got wrecked. I'm going to resist the urge to look at the intraday. I know what it looks like. It went up and then it went down. We see that right here. And these also move really slowly, Exxon and Chevron. So that's why we're looking at stocks like BTU in the first place. It moves 5% a day. Baker probably, a little less, but still, it just broke out of this flag. So it's interesting. So that's a whole lot about the charts. But the reason I'm talking about the charts is that gives an actual picture of where to put the money. And if you look at your portfolio and you have your money elsewhere, it would probably be wise to get a handle of what sector it's in, at least, right? So here's an example. PSX is kind of no man's land, right? So if you want to buy that here, you can. But what are you buying it off of? Like this sort of pivot? I don't know. I'd really want to buy it off of like here, something like 133 down here. Or maybe it would go up, go sideways a bit, and then you could get it at 140, something like that. So anyway, oil and gas looks interesting for the reason that XLE looks interesting at a time when this buy is maybe interesting, big rebound, but probably not just going to burst right through 700 or whatever, 690 all-time highs without a little bit of sideways or pulling back. So if we look at some random other sectors, this is also what I'm talking about. These moves are crazy. You can't just buy up here and expect this to break out. So this is construction, and then in metals, this is gold. That's another sector that people are considering right now, or they're talking about because it's really strong. And yeah, it is really strong, but it already gave an opportunity. It had a low here, this is kind of at the same level, but then it had a higher low. So it offered an opportunity to get in. And I talked about that, in a video recently. Let me know in the comments if you noticed that. And in the Discord as well. And then it had a big move. This is a big move. It doesn't look like a big move, but it's almost 5%. So you can't really, in my opinion, buy it up here. Yes, I know gold just marched up for months. Well, 2 months. Almost months. Definitely 45 days plus. What's most likely to happen is this might pull back a little. So maybe, if it pulls back and holds here, you can buy it. Because it's not random. These levels are not random. On some tiny companies, yes, it can get a little bit at random. And there are tiny companies that people play all the time. And this can seem a little random. I wouldn't mess around with this. Yes, there is, $90 million or 30 million times 3, $90 million on this day even. So there's a lot of volume here, but do you really want to get stuck in losing 50% of your investment on some $1 stock? No, that's why we play stocks that move. And look how fast. Look at this. Average daily range is 50%. It's terrifying, right? So don't use scanners, in my opinion. Just look at sectors. Find a sector that seems to be strong. Energy is definitely strong. Oil and gas. I'm kind of using these interchangeably. Baker does a lot of energy equipment, drilling equipment, natural gas processing pipelines. Halliburton, we've all heard of, the contracting company. It was associated with like the Iraq War. They probably don't love that. Schlumberger, we've probably heard of. And then some of these oil companies, EQT is a big one. VLO is a big one. CCJ is a big one. Cameco. I guess this is actually uranium. It might be slightly uranium related. So there have been hot sectors. Uranium is actually one of them. But they're not viable right now. Uranium is looking ugly, right? This DNN had a little bounce. UUUU just looks terrible. And then the Oklos and the nuclear companies look terrible too. So you gotta really search for ideas. Some of these chemical companies are super strong, but they don't look extremely viable right now because, again, this already went up 5 days in a row, right? So it's probably going to pull back. I could be wrong, but I'm documenting this right now. So we can look back on this and say, yeah, you're right. When you do have a market that moves 5 days up, there is a pullback, or there's a small chance I'll be wrong. And on Monday we'll just have the beginning of December pump, the Christmas pump. Given November was pretty much nothing. It wasn't nothing, but it was actually a little bit down. I mean, this was the beginning of November, so it was nothing. It was pretty much 0% exactly gain, but we did go down a lot first, 5% down, 5% up in a week. Maybe December will break through. I don't know. That's what people were saying about September, that it was going to be a snooze fest because rate cuts were expected and rate cuts happened in the third week of September, but instead September ripped because August was a chop fest. August, even though it looks like we're marching up, August basically went sideways. I mean, from July 31st to September 3rd, we basically went down 0.3% or something, 1%, depending on how you measure it, right? So it looks like a straight up and down, a straight up 40% gain, but along the way, it definitely had entire month-long periods where it pretty much went sideways. So we do have to be aware of that. October or August right here. Sorry, I thought this was August. This is actually mid-May to mid-June as well. And then up here, basically October and November. I mean, from here, the beginning of October to the beginning of December, we have barely moved up, right? 2%. So on 40%, that's not a big move. So I'm not going to just endlessly click through this buy. I'm not totally a macro head, techno head here to waste your time and irritate you. But I'm just trying to impress that after there's a big move, 5%, there can be a pullback, especially when it's been so choppy recently. It seems to me, I mean, this was a fundamental event, right? The tariff reversal, where Trump said, or, Wall Street told Trump, hey, dude, you got to knock it off. So it still was choppy, but here's a lot. This is 5%. It did go up 5% in just a couple of days with some gaps, and then gave another 5% over another week, and then gave another 5% over another couple weeks. First it went sideways. So there are periods of sideways, even the most volatile times, is all I'm saying. So I don't know. That was probably way too much about things that you don't want to hear about because you can see them very clearly by clicking around. But the ideas I think are interesting. BTU I think is interesting, even though it's rolled over a bit. And Baker I think is interesting, and they're both oil, energy, natural gas companies. So that seems to be the place to go. You can look at crude, but they're only correlated to crude sort of in the crude way, in the micro way, in that. So this is October 20th to October 23rd. So let's look at that. October 20th, pretty much here. So they have a move, but then it just kept going up. Meanwhile, crude went down, right? So October 20th. BTU didn't have any. Of course, BTU is a coal company, so that's not exactly going to move based on crude oil, but I'm going to leave you with that. If you like these ideas, hit that like button, even if they're not fully baked. And if you want a free course on how to buy stocks before they go up, hit that subscribe. Post that in the YouTube post once a month. And if you want help, head over to the Discord, stockscommunity.com. You can try it for $19 through Cyber Monday. Probably going to be raising that price back up to $25. It's just for the trial. It's for 7 days. You don't want bots joining, and you don't want just people joining for like a free Discord. It gets kind of messy in my opinion. So that's that. See you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.